I'm ranking every Mario Kart game from worst to best. There are a lot of Mario Kart titles, but the worst one has to be Mario Kart Tour. For those of you who have been spared from playing this game, consider yourself lucky. Mario Kart Tour is the mobile app that brought Mario Kart to phones across the world, and you want to know what? It stinks! The main issue with this game is how overly monetized it is. If you're somebody who wants to get all of the characters, it would cost you thousands of dollars. Now, this game is free, so you don't have to spend any money, but that doesn't excuse the fact that they made all of these characters so expensive. I know loads of people who have dropped thousands of dollars into this game, and I don't understand it. But this game has an incredible roster of characters. You can play as Captain Toad, Mario dressed as a chef, or Yoshi dressed as a kangaroo. They could add all of these characters to Mario Kart 8 if they wanted, but they decided not to because they could make way more money by adding them to Mario Kart Tour and having them be exclusive there. Like I said, the gameplay is fine, but having to spend that much money on characters is not acceptable. Mario Kart Live Home Circuit is a weird game. This takes the idea of toys to life to a whole new meaning. This game has you driving a physical Mario Kart toy around your house as the track, and it's not bad by any means. I don't own it myself, but my cousin does, so I've played around with it a bit, and I don't think it's bad, it's just a weird gimmick. I wouldn't consider this your typical Mario Kart game, but it is better than Mario Kart Tour, so I had to include it. Super Mario Kart was the first Mario Kart title ever released, and it did a really good job at being an introductory game to the series. This game hasn't aged super well, and going back and picking this game up is not really easy to do. This game is 30 years old, and it does feel dated. But this was the first Mario Kart ever made, so it was more of a proof of concept than anything else. And it did it so well. The idea behind this game was to make a kart racer that was accessible for anybody, and Nintendo knocked it out of the park and made one of their biggest franchises with this. This game had a roster of 8 playable characters, and for a Super Nintendo game, it looks really good. It's crazy to think that this ended up becoming this, but if you haven't played Super Mario Kart, I recommend giving it a go. I can't begin to explain how many car rides Mario Kart Super Circuit got me through as a kid. This was the first Mario Kart game to come out for a handheld console, and it released for the Game Boy Advance. This game also has a roster of 8 playable characters, but this time you can play as Wario, so it has to be better. This game also released on the Virtual Console for the 3DS, and I remember picking it up and thinking it was just as good then as it was now. This is another one of those games that has a lot of charm, but to me hasn't aged very well, especially when you compare it to other games in the series. I think Super Circuit and Super Mario Kart are both great games, but I would rather reach for a game that has more to offer, but unfortunately these games, due to their age, just don't do it for me like they should.
You just talk trash about Super Circuit? Yeah, why? Alright. Come here. No, please!
Mario Kart 64 was my introduction to the Mario Kart series. It really hurts to put this game this low, but if I'm being honest, I think a lot of what makes this game as highly regarded as it is today is nostalgia. This was the second Mario Kart game ever made, and it added a lot of things to the series that are fan favorites to this day, like battle mode. But I don't know what it is about this game. It doesn't do anything bad, but at the same time, I never want to play it like I do other games in the series. This game added a lot of tracks that are some of my favorite to this day. But one of the biggest problems with this game is that it's really buggy. This was before games could be updated by the magic of the internet, so for speedrunners and people who like to exploit game glitches, I understand why this game would be higher on their list. But as someone who casually plays this game to race with friends, just like Super Circuit and Super Mario Kart, I don't reach for this game. There was only one step to being cool in elementary school, and that was owning a copy of Mario Kart DS. This game sold incredibly well, and it's no wonder why. Sneaking this game out to play at recess was one of the best things to do in elementary school. And the best part is only one person had to have the game in order to play. Using Download Play, you could play with a bunch of different people using one copy of the game. Sure, they had to play as Shy Guys, but I usually had the copy of the game, so I'm not gonna complain.
Yeah, I was cool like that.
Out of the box, this game had 8 characters available, but playing this game you were able to unlock 4 more: Daisy, Drybones, Waluigi, and Rob. No, not that Rob, this Rob. Rob stands for Robotic Operating Buddy, and it was an accessory for the NES that flew under the radar for a lot of people until the early 2000s, where Nintendo started to push it a lot. This game also allowed you to pick different karts for your character to ride in, which is an interesting idea because you didn't have to ride in the same old kart every single game like the older titles. Mario Kart DS did a lot of things really well, and the fact that it was on the DS means you can bring it wherever you want, which made it even more special.
Are you playing Mario Kart right now? Yeah. This is a funeral!
Mario Kart 7 came out for the 3DS, and this was the first Mario Kart game to have the title be its order number in the franchise, which means I had to explain how Mario Kart 64 came out before Mario Kart 7, and trying to explain that to a parent is like trying to explain to a goldfish how an airplane works. This game offered 16 playable characters and had some interesting ones like Wiggler and the Honey Queen from Mario Galaxy. What really set this game apart though was that this was the first Mario Kart to allow you to have 3 different customization options for your kart. Being able to customize your kart, wheels, and glider added so much replayability and added a lot of unlockables to keep me on this game. Customizing carts is something that seems so simple, but it adds loads of depth to the game. I feel like this game was just a better overall package than Mario Kart DS, and it's no wonder why this game was the best-selling game on the 3DS. It's Mario Kart, there's no way this game wasn't gonna sell like ramen in prison. Some people will say that this game was a little too simple, but I think this game was great for anybody who wants to pick it up. Mario Kart Double Dash is the black sheep of the Mario Kart series. Double Dash came out for the GameCube and is the only Mario Kart game where you can have two racers on the same kart. This led to a lot of wacky combinations that were possible, like Waluigi and Baby Mario on the same kart. I don't know why, this just seems wrong. Double Dash was also the first Mario Kart game to offer a double item box, which allowed you to have two items at the same time. This game had 20 separate playable characters and allowed you to play as Petey Piranha, which instantly makes this game a banger. The famous golden cart also made his debut in this game, and overall, I think this was a great idea from Nintendo. Like I said before, this is the only Mario Kart game that allowed two people on the same cart, and I think that it would be a great idea for them to make this a game mode in other Mario Kart games. It felt really unique, and it's weird that they didn't try and capitalize off this game's nostalgia. But considering this wasn't added to the booster pass, I don't think it's coming to Mario Kart 8 anytime soon. And speaking of Mario Kart 8, this game is an absolute titan of a game. Mario Kart 8 and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe are being lumped together because they're the same game. It would feel wrong to judge these games separately because Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is a port of the Wii U title, and it included all of the DLC that came for it and added its own down the line. The gimmick of this game was anti-gravity, and it made for some really engaging tracks that allowed for Mario Kart to do some awesome visually appealing stuff. This was the first Mario Kart game to be in HD, and it looks beautiful. This game kept the kart customization options from Mario Kart 7, and it allowed for so many different possibilities. And like I said before, this was the first Mario Kart game to offer DLC. On the Wii U, they added things like new characters from different franchises like Splatoon, Animal Crossing, and Legend of Zelda, along with Mercedes-Benz cars for some reason. Yeah, this commercial existed, and now you have to see it, and I don't apologize for it. And on the Switch, Mario Kart 8 Booster Pass came out somewhat recently, and they added double the amount of tracks in the game and a bunch of new characters, making this the biggest Mario Kart game by far. I think it's going to be hard for Nintendo to do something to one-up this, but I'm predicting here and now that Mario Kart 9 will be a launch title for the new Nintendo console that should be coming out in 2025. But the best Mario Kart game has to be Mario Kart Wii. This game was a cultural phenomenon, and it had people like grandparents and kids playing this game together, and it was the first time this game really reached the popularity that it has today. I think that a lot of this game's success can be attributed to the Wii Wheel. The Wii Wheel was a plastic doohickey that allowed you to plug your Wiimote in and drive to your little heart's content. I personally like to use the controller, but I don't mind using the Wii Wheel. I just think that it allowed so many people who didn't have video game experience to dip their toe into the world of video games for the first time. This game had a roster of 24 playable characters and has some interesting picks, like Rosalina, Funky Kong, and Dry Bowser. To this day, this game has a really active community which has kept this game alive over the years. And some of my favorite maps of all time came out on this game. And not only did this game have new maps, it also had a load of older maps that allowed you to feel nostalgia while playing this game. This was also the first Mario Kart game to add motorcycles to the mix. This game set Mario Kart on the course to be what it is today, and it's no wonder why this game is held to the highest regard by fans. All of the Mario Kart games are special in their own right, but I think that Mario Kart Wii did something so special that allowed it to be what a lot of people use to dip their toe into the world of video games. Only time will tell what Nintendo's going to do with Mario Kart 9, but I think it will be just as special as all these other games were.